Mark had always been the calm parent. After the divorce, he moved into a small rental on Elmwood Lane with his 5-year-old son Ethan, and told himself the creaks in the old house were just the place settling. Ethan adapted fast. He had his dinosaur blanket, his nightlight shaped like a rocket, and a new imaginary friend named Mr. Tall. At first, Mark thought it was cute. Ethan would set an extra plastic cup at the dinner table. He'd whisper to the empty corner of the living room, "Mr. Tall says, 'You forgot to lock the back door again, Daddy.'" Mark would laugh, ruffle the kid's hair, and double-check the bolt. The first odd thing happened on a Thursday. Mark came home from the night shift at the warehouse and found Ethan's bedroom door wide open. The boy was asleep, but the ceiling above his bed had 4 perfect smudges. Small, dusty handprints pressed flat against the white paint, 10 feet off the ground. Mark grabbed the step-ladder from the garage, climbed up, and wiped them away. Probably the previous tenant's kid, he told himself. Cheap popcorn ceiling picked up everything. 2 nights later, the prints were back. Same spot, same size. This time, the dust looked fresh, like someone had just pressed their palms there. Ethan woke while Mark stared upward. "Mr. Tall needed to see out the window," the boy mumbled. "He's too big for the floor." Mark installed a camera that same afternoon, a cheap Wi-Fi one, pointed at the bed. He told Ethan it was for monster protection. The kid just shrugged and went back to coloring. The footage from the first night was normal. Ethan rolled over a few times, kicked off his blanket, talked in his sleep. Nothing on the ceiling. Mark exhaled and almost deleted the file. Night 2 changed everything. At 2:13 a.m., the camera caught a flicker, static for half a second. When the image cleared, the handprints were already there, darker this time, almost wet. Ethan sat straight up in bed, eyes open, and whispered, "He's sorry he woke you." Then the boy lay back down and didn't move again until morning. Mark played the clip frame by frame. Between 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 58 seconds and 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 59 seconds, something impossible happened. The prints simply appeared like someone had smeared them on. No ladder, no shadow, no sound. He took the day off work, drove Ethan to his sister's house, and tore the bedroom apart. He checked the attic crawl space. Empty. He scraped samples of the ceiling dust and sent them to a buddy who worked crime scene cleanup. The report came back 2 days later. The smudges contained skin cells, but the ridge patterns didn't match any human database. The cells were elongated, like fingers stretched beyond normal bone structure. Ethan refused to sleep in his room after that. He dragged his dinosaur blanket to the couch and begged Mark to leave the hallway light on. "Mr. Tall doesn't like the dark anymore," he said. "It's too crowded." Mark started noticing other things. The hallway mirror showed faint streaks at the top, too high for Ethan to reach. The coat rack by the door had tiny scuff marks near the ceiling, like something had braced itself there. One morning, he found the kitchen step stool pushed against the fridge, and on top of the fridge another set of prints, facing down as if whatever made them had been hanging upside down. He brought in a priest, a paranormal investigator, even a structural engineer. No one found access points. The engineer measured the ceiling height at 10 feet 2 inches and muttered that no child could press prints that clean without a boost. And even then, the pressure would have cracked the drywall. It hadn't. Ethan's behavior shifted. He stopped whispering to corners and started listening. He'd tilt his head toward the ceiling like he was waiting for instructions. One night, Mark caught him standing on his bed, arms raised, palms flat against the paint. "He wants to come down now," Ethan said calmly. "But the floor is too far." Mark moved them to a motel. He told work he needed a week. He hired a nanny cam for the empty house, left the lights on, and watched the feed on his phone from the parking lot. For 3 nights, nothing, just the rocket nightlight pulsing red every 8 seconds. On the 4th night, the camera died at 3:07 a.m. When Mark remotely rebooted it, the live feed showed Ethan's bedroom exactly as they'd left it, except the ceiling was covered in prints. Dozens of them, overlapping, some fresh, some flaking. In the center, one set stood out, larger than the rest, fingers splayed directly above the pillow. The motel door clicked behind him. Mark spun around. Ethan stood in the bathroom doorway, barefoot, eyes still sleepy. "Daddy," he said, voice small. Mr. Tall followed us. He left his shoes in the bathtub. Mark rushed to the bathroom. The cheap tile floor was dry, but on the ceiling, 12 feet up, were 2 perfect barefoot prints side by side. Toes pointed toward the mirror. The mirror reflected an empty room. They never went back to Elmwood Lane. Mark sold everything at a loss and moved 3 states away. Ethan stopped mentioning Mr. Tall. He started sleeping with the lights off. He seemed relieved. 6 months later, Mark got a call from the new tenant. The woman sounded shaken. "I know this is weird," she said, "but my son keeps talking about a tall man on the ceiling. And there are these handprints. We can't wash them off. They just keep coming back." Mark asked what her son called the friend. There was a long pause. "Mr. Tall," she whispered. "He says the man's looking for his little boy." Mark hung up and stared at Ethan, now 6, coloring at the kitchen table. The boy hadn't drawn dinosaurs in weeks. Every page was the same. A stick figure child standing on a bed, arms up, reaching toward a ceiling covered in black handprints. At the top of each drawing, in careful crayon letters, "Daddy, come home." That night, Mark woke to the sound of the hallway light clicking on. Ethan's bedroom door was open. The boy stood on his tiptoes in the center of the room, palms pressed flat against the ceiling. 10 feet up, impossible. His little body stretched like taffy. He turned his head all the way around and smiled. "Found you," he said in a voice that wasn't his. "Drop your own creepy childhood story in the comments. Like, if this gave you chills, subscribe Dread Pulse, with the bell on for weekly drops of horror short films, true scary stories, and creepy animations. Lights on or off, you decide."